Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm going to do another watch review. Was bored yesterday, so took my wife over to, we went to Jared. We're just going to look at watches. But she found a Bulova that I may do a first review of a female woman's watch because it's actually really kind of interesting. Not for dudes, but hey, maybe you want to get it for your girl. So we're going to talk a little bit about Bulova as a company. If you want to get right to the watch, then fast forward 5 minutes or 6 minutes or whatever, because I'm going to talk about the company a little bit and give my thoughts on it and a little bit of the history that leads up to what we're going to show as far as this particular watch. So Bulova's got a really rich history. It started in 1875, so they just hit their 150-year anniversary. Started by Joseph Bulova way back in the day in New York City. He was a bohemian immigrant, wanted to start a watch company. They also made clocks and things, and his dream was to make really high-end, innovative timepieces that were interesting and affordable. Didn't necessarily want to be another Rolex or something that was only for the luxury folks. He wanted to make watches that were somewhat luxurious that, you know, the average person could afford. As a result of that emphasis on affordability, Bulova kind of gets the reputation of, they're not good watches, they're mall watches, you know, because you see them at Zales and all the watch places. And while it is true, you also see Citizen, you see Tissot, you see Seiko, and you see other Japanese and even Swiss respected brands sold at malls. Just because it's sold in a mall doesn't mean it's bad. I think where Bulova does sometimes hurt their brand image is in some of their designs. Not the quality, not the materials. Those are all really good. But they've got some big, chunky, weird-looking watches that are just, they remind me of Invicta. Now, Invicta makes an okay watch for the money, but a lot of people like to shit on Invicta, and I get why. I'm not here to talk about them or defend them. But some of their watches look like some of the Invicta watches. And I think that association visually makes people go, Bulova, eh. Bulova's a really good watch company. They make excellent things. They've also been innovative. The Accutron, back in the day, it was like the 60s or something, was the most accurate watch you could buy. It was the first completely electronic watch on the market before anybody else. Bulova, back in the day, they have a motorsport heritage, which is the common theme here. They were the official timekeeping of NASCAR starting in 1957. They were the second watch to go on the moon on Apollo 15. We'll talk a little bit about that. So they've got, and they were sponsored a Ford racing team in the 70s and stuff like that. So Bulova has been around for a century and a half. They're really good watches. They've got some good designs and they got some designs that are questionable, but the quality has always been good. The value has been good. They're a good watch company. I just think some of them are dog shit ugly, but that's a matter of taste. I'm sure there's a market out there for it. But they've had like a bunch of firsts and things like that. You know, some people that were fans of Bulova, Paul Newman, Elvis, Frank Sinatra, you know. So they have heritage, okay? They have the history, they have the heritage, they have the fact that they've innovated several things. Bulova was the first watch company to make women-specific watches. Back in 1917, making women's wristwatches. They were the first to start that. In fact, the model that we picked up from my wife, that we'll save for another video, is from that line. That's over 100 years old. So they've got some street cred, okay? I'm wearing a Marine Star, which is running a 262 kilohertz, which is accurate to, I don't know, something like 10 seconds per year or whatever. It's like one of, if not, it's not the first, it's the second most accurate quartz watch you can buy in the world. 200 meter water resistance, screw down crown, really cool texture on the dial. This is my affordable Tog Aqua Racer. When I was at Jared yesterday, I saw the Aqua Racer. I think it was like a 43 or a 44, something like that. Automatic with the black and green. Oh, it's beautiful. And then I saw the price tag, $4,200. I'm like, yeah, that's why I don't have that one yet. $600. you know, and it's a very, I'm not going to say it's the same or on par with the Tug, but it's that kind of design-ish. Um, yeah, they make good stuff. So the other Bulova that I've got, we'll just set this one off to the side. I've got reviews of this, search my channel. It's the Marine Star. I've got the Bulova Moon Watch. So this was the second watch to go to the frickin' moon and be out on the moon while the guys are out there working. It was Apollo 15, July 26, 1971 to August 7th, 1971. Yeah, anyway, it was David Scott was out on the moon. He was going to take his speed timer or Speedmaster from Omega, which is who actually won. Bulova had submitted this watch, but ultimately they lost out on the contract for the wristwatches to Omega. However, they did get the contract for some of the clocks and instrumentation in the spacecraft itself. Again, why? Because they're really accurate. They're really good. And when you're up in space with no computers and you have to time your entry and how to fire the rockets and for how long and your oxygen and shit, you better be able to rely on accurate timekeeping, because you don't have a computer doing the math and tracking that, turning the stuff on and off for you. So again, street cred. But they had the second moon watch. Now, I mentioned they were also involved in motorsports. And I like kind of 70s, 60s, and 70s retro themed watches. I like this because while this was the moon watch, it was also very similar to the Omega Speedmaster, which is what won the contract, which was more of a motorsport watch. Wasn't designed for deep sea diving because you can be in space and you don't have to worry about that. So the water resistance isn't all that great. But then you had the speed timer from Seiko. So this is the new one. This is the Prospects line. It's the 41-ish millimeter, and it's solar and stuff. But this is their new modern interpretation of their own classic 1969 speed timer. I like that motorsport theme. I have a bunch of dive watches, but these kind of watches actually appeal to me a little bit more. Then you've got a modern, I know Tissot does the timing and stuff for MotoGP, and they're the official timekeeping and all that kind of stuff. And so they came up with their T-Race, which is a motorcycle brake caliper here, and then the rotor, and it's a nice chronograph. It's just a really cool design. Beautiful watch. $600, picked it up for $358 on Amazon on a 2-day flash sale, but just really cool watches. And so I like these motorsport themed watches. So now at 7 minutes in, let's get to the damn watch that we're here to talk about, now that we've kind of credentialed Bulova and maybe put aside some of the doubts people have about it. So very nice case. Again, this one is called the Racer Chronograph. Comes with a nice little brochure going back to their racing days and the teams that they sponsored and the different motorsports series that Bulova was a part of. You could probably download this in a PDF if you really wanted, but it goes and it talks about their roots and how this one came to be. This comes in 3 different flavors. I've got this one. This one I would have liked maybe a little better, but I went with this one. This one, the model number is, where's the damn specific? I mean, they just call it the Racer. The model is a 98B as in boy 427. So 98B 427. These are relatively new. These were released in June of this past year in 2024. So only been out on the market for about 6 months. Uses an OS 21 movement. It is quartz, but it is not the 262 kilohertz. I was kind of hoping for that, but that's okay. Got a leather strap. You've got a chronograph. You have calendar. Down here, you've got 24-hour time, so you can see whether it's AM or PM. Some people like that, some people don't. I'm fine with it. The lug width is 22. The case width is 42 millimeters and 100-meter water resistance, and it does have AR-coated sapphire crystal. So, nice watch. Got a nice leather strap. They have one, let's see, the other colors is they have one with a steel bracelet that has a pale light blue. dial. And that one's actually really, really cool. But I have so many watches with bracelets, I went with this one. But that one has between the blue and the orange, it has that, remember Gulf oil back in the day? It has that sort of color scheme. And then they've got one that is all blacked out other than the orange accents. So it's the black dial, but it adds a black case, keeps the orange button, and has a black leather strap instead of tan leather with the black seeping through. And you've got this actually rubber here, like this tire kind of thing in here. It's just a really cool motorsports kind of themed thing. So the back, let's see, let's take a look at it real quick. Seems, fairly plain. It does use standard 22 mil lugs. It is a screw on back. So getting to it to take your battery and change your battery periodically, not a big deal. Feels like we got a rubber protective film on that, so let's go ahead and scratch that off. Nicely finished. We'll go with some close-ups in just a minute. I love that the straps that it comes with are standard 22 mil, and they are quick disconnects. If you want to throw a NATO strap on there, you want to change to a rubber strap to make it, because you do have 100-meter water resistance, but I don't know how many people are going to go in the water with their leather strap, because it does get it kind of funky and stuff. But it does allow you to swap out to different style straps. I really like that retro vibe this thing's throwing off. Thickness, I don't have a measurement on that. It doesn't give it. So let's take some close-ups of it. We'll put it on the wrist and see what we like about it. So you've got little tuning fork. That's their thing. I think that started back with their Accutron. You've got brushed, a combination of brushed and polish. So non-rotating bezel, because it's a tachometer. It's a sport, motorsports kind of watch, not a dive watch. You have, I don't know what these screws are. It makes it look like it's bolted together, but I think that's just all machined because it's not separate down here. But it makes it look a little bit interesting. You got simple Bulova here on the side on the polished. This is all nicely brushed, very well done. You've got a little bit of a polished chamfer there. Of course, everything around the bezel itself is nice and polished. It's a nice combination of things. You've got that area, and you got your tuning fork on the crown. Crown is nice. It is not screw down. Again, if it was a dive watch or something where you were going to be wearing it in the water, but the leather strap, I'm not probably going to go even take a shower with it. I'll take the thing off so I don't get the strap all funky. I will say, man, this doesn't happen on a lot of watches, but that second hand, if you look at the Tissot, slightly off. Doesn't exactly line up. And yes, I've tried adjusting it. This one lines up pretty damn close, like more accurate than most of them. Most watches I found. Bulova seems to be pretty good on that. If you pull the crown out and you push this button, you can reset it and move it. So if you don't notice it is off, and when you hit reset, it resets to the wrong place, you can pull this out and then basically hit that button and it'll move all the way around and stop when you want. And then hitting this button will do the same to make sure that your minutes are aligned. Nice positive little click, 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 click. Stop. Start again. And then you hit reset and it'll automatically go. It doesn't do a lapse time. So just a basic stopwatch. I do like the orange button. I like how it ties into the orange here and on the dial. I think it goes really good with that tan strap. On the wrist, I've got 7.3-inch wrists, and I think for me, that wrist has to just loosen up and break in a little bit. It's just a little stiff, giggity. But if you've got big wrists, yeah, you got plenty of room here. I'm on the second tightest, so that's where it's going to live for me. This looks really nice. The clasp got just their name on it. I like that it doesn't have sharp edges. It's all beveled nice, so it's less likely to, if you nicked something or you're reaching for something around the car, bike, you could, I guess, if you hit it really hard, but it's very rounded and smooth, all the edges. There's no corners, there's no sharp edges, so you're a little less likely to scratch something. I like that the little touches, it's polished. and it's brushed. And then that edge, someone took the time to go in and polish that. Looks really nice, feels good on the wrist. Like I just like these kind of classic designs. I look at these and I'm like, they're just beautiful. 42 inches, so it is a little bit smaller. This is a big boy. There's a 43.5 or a 44.5 or something like that. A lot of people didn't like it because it's that big. I'm like, that's beautiful. That's one of my favorite watches. I just think that's beautiful. This one's nice. This Bulova, the Marine Star, it's nice. It's my affordable, poor man's Aqua Racer. But it's just, it's always going to be that. These ones have some heritage to them. These are really interesting designs. I like these the same way that I like this or my Longines. There's something just very cool about that 70s vibe, and it has a vintage kind of feel while not being vintage. It's modern machined. It's all done really well. We're going to stop moving the damn thing around so much, which people keep asking me about, so you can zoom in and see it. But that is, if I can get the light any brighter there, that is just, I think, gorgeous. Look at the back. Oh, another little protective. Damn, we got enough of those things on there. You got one on top of the other. Polish the back surface, really nice. Just very clean. The lugs aren't obtrusive. I mean, it's got a little bit of a curve. That was another thing, some firsts. So we talk about the first woman's line of watches in the world, the first electronic watch, most accurate, second watch going to the moon. But also they have a curve where the whole watch, the case, the dial, everything is curved to the shape of your wrist in a chronograph. The only company that's done that, or at least they were the first. Maybe there's been some since, but they got some really cool stuff. But so let's see, we've zoomed in. Look at that. There's your left side with the logo. You can see the different machining and polishing, finishing. Get your little tuning fork down there. Nice. You got your buttons. I love the orange anodized button. That one of my lives, my Pilot, is like that, and I think that's great. It's just something neat. It draws your eye to it. It ties it in with other colors. I think it's magnificent. I think this is a great looking watch. The strap is really nice. The inside's really soft. We'll look at that in a second. But genuine leather, nicely stitched. Really, really plush. Whatever that inner layer is, they did a really nice job of finishing that. Who knows? It could be made in China. Don't know. The watch isn't, but that could be. But it feels good. So I am impressed as shit with this watch. I think this thing looks marvelous on the wrist, as does this. And there's certain watches where I'm like, oh, I want bracelets. When I have a watch like this, like my speed timer, that looks good on a bracelet. This one, it's kind of funky, and you see the brakes, and then the brake rotor, you see the brake caliper, you see something that looks like tire tread. That fits that watch. I don't think this watch would look as good with a bracelet. But these, I think, look awesome. This one's got a kind of carbon fiber-ish. So you've kind of got an amalgamation, a blending of the old. This is a 1960s design. In the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s. But it's got a little bit of a modern feel with that. This has just gone full retro. I love the shape. It sits on the wrist real comfortable. It's got a nice curve to it. The lugs are really short, so it just feels good. And I almost walked out of there. I was looking at a Frederick Constant, but even with a discount, it was going to be like $1,600 plus tax, and I really love the watch. I may go back for it someday. But I wanted to get my wife something, and she found one she really liked, and with the discount and stuff, it was down around like a little over, it was like $441 or something like that for a Bulova. And I was looking around, and I was almost done. I was looking at one, and I'm like, I like it a lot, but it's too similar to watches I already have. If I get a new watch in my collection, because one has to go out, it's got to be something that's different enough from what I already have to warrant coming in. I don't want to have just 5 blue faced 42 millimeter dive watches. They're all the same because you're going to end up just picking the one and you kind of, that's your favorite, and the rest just sit there. So I want to have different watches, different looks, different vibes, different occasions that you might wear them. And she was like, oh, why don't you look at that one? That one's kind of neat. And I didn't even see it. I was like, oh yeah, let me look at it. And then I started playing with it. And I'm like, that's the one. Like, that's the one. And now I see every night my wife's over there on her phone on Joma Shop looking at watches. And she remarked, this is really addictive. I'm like, you think? Tell me about it. Spent like 17 grand on watches now in the last year. So that is the Bulova Racer. Comes in a nice box. I love the whole motorsports theme. It's really neat. I like their history. I don't like all their designs. Let me be very clear. There are some butt ugly freaking Bulovas out there. But they've got some really nice ones. And when you look at those nice ones, you appreciate what they've done. When you read about their history, you appreciate their place in the watch market. And they deserve, a nice place, I think, in your collection. There's just something about some of their designs. They're more classic designs. And they've got some fantastic dress watches. Bulova makes some really elegant, beautiful things. Just push the gaudy ones, the Invicta-looking ones, off to the side. They look like Invictas, but honestly, they're really good watches. I just don't care for their style-wise. They don't appeal to me at all. But this thing looks freaking magnificent. And it was really torn. Steel bracelet with the light blue. That may appeal to some other people. I'll put a link to the main page that says for the 3 models that they sell, and then you can click each color and get more information on them. Yeah, I don't know what else to say on this. It's just a nice watch. Some people say, oh, it was automatic. I'm okay with it because every time I buy an automatic, I can buy another goddamn watch winder. So I've got 6 automatics right now. I'm fine with quartz. In 2, 3, 4 years, it'll stop keeping time. I'll take out those 4 screws, pop the top, make sure that you're careful with the seal and stuff like that, the gasket, and just swap out the batteries. Go on Amazon and buy a 10-pack of batteries for $9. So I've got a whole bunch of the most common batteries sitting here. Renata brand, I think, is the one everybody goes for. They're actually Swiss, I think. And yeah, just change it yourself. And then you don't have to have watch winders. You don't have to worry about, oh, I didn't wear it for a couple days, and I got to set the time and date when I pick it up because it's been a week. This one will make it high in my rotation. I just have to sit here and break in the strap and get it to soften up a little bit, but it's not bad for being brand new. I'll give it that. So there you go. 98B427 is this particular model number. I think it looks marvelous. I don't know if that's ceramic or aluminum. Honestly, I don't care. Some people get bent out of shape. Oh, I gotta have ceramic. As long as it's good and it's scratch proof and it looks nice, like to me, whatever. It doesn't matter if they go, oh, that's aluminum instead of ceramic. I don't care. It doesn't make a difference to me one way or the other. As long as it's durable and holds up, it looks that nice. Whatever. Whatevs, as the kids are saying. There you go. I got nothing else to say other than don't write off Bulova because you think, oh, it comes from a mall, or oh, because some of their models are ugly. Yeah, some of their models are. Some I think there's certain Rolexes that I don't particularly care for. So you could say that about Tissot and some of their watches. Pretty much anybody. They try to, have a wide range of things to appeal to a wide range of buyers. And some are going to hit the mark and some are going to miss. So there you go. That is the Racer from Bulova.